All right, hey guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. So I'm just going to talk really quickly about GearLink, which is an app I've developed that allows you to issue a command to your car, something like "car roll down windows" or "car lock door" or "car move seat." And so I'm actually developing that app as we speak. It's sort of in like a pre-alpha version. I'm the only one that's been developing it. I've been developing it on and off for like a couple years when I can. And so I figured I would just go real quick into my car hacking journey, how I started even doing this, and like just go chronologically to where I'm at now. So basically, I've been a lifelong car dude. I've owned millions of cars. I do engine swaps, all that stuff, shade tree mechanic. And right now, I own a 2013 Fiat 500 Turbo. And so I'm super involved in like the car communities and stuff like that. And my particular model is a mid-line model. There's a model, the Abarth, the Fiat Abarth. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that is actually the top of the line for the Fiat 500. And that has the ability to turn the traction control fully off. So it's got a three-mode traction control. And my Fiat 500 Turbo is a midline model, and I only have a two-mode traction control. So I cannot turn my traction control fully off. And so this was super annoying to me. I didn't want to have to like trade my car in and get like an Abarth. And meanwhile, they're always bragging we can turn our traction control off, yada yada yada. So I was like, I can interface with the car. I'm a computer guy. I know I can do this. And so I then basically got a okay. So here's what I did. Okay, so I was like, I'm going to tap into a scan tool. So there are scan tools that plug into your OBD2 port on your car, and they show like check engine lights and stuff like that, right? Your mechanic uses them, your dealer uses them, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to try to interface with the scan tool when it's plugged into my OBD2 port and see if I can actually access any of the ECUs in my car. Because I had done some research and I realized that, yeah, like it's four wheels with a bunch of computers attached to it. And all of those ECUs, all of those little computers are actually connected to each other over a network called a CAN bus. And it's actually a really simplistic network. You have a start to it and you have an end to it. It's like one line that goes like this and a bunch of different computers, or ECUs, I should say, one of which would be a traction control ECU attached to this network. And so I was like, okay, I am going to attempt to interface with the CAN bus and actually read the messages coming off of the traction control ECU and see if I can actually like unblock the third mode. Because I was like, okay, maybe Fiat has the third mode. It's just, for the midline model, like they blocked it. You know what I mean? But like the top line model gets it. So I was determined to see if I can do that. And so, yeah, so what I did is plug the scan tool in. I have, like I say, some computer background. So I basically hacked, for lack of a better term, into the scan tool through Bluetooth. And I was able to issue what are called AT commands to the scan tool. So I was able to interact with the actual scan tool. I got it to tell me its firmware version, Elm 327 version 1.5, whatever. And I could do really basic stuff. Like I could have it return what the current voltage of the battery is, like usually like 11.7 volts or something like that. So super basic. So, but then I went further, of course, and I got it to read the actual CAN bus of the car. And what happened is when it read the CAN bus, there are so many messages on the CAN bus that are happening like every couple milliseconds that it overloaded my Bluetooth connection and it froze my whole setup up. And I couldn't go far that way. So, and I even tried like a faster scan tool, an OBD Link MX, which has a much better chip. Still didn't work, would overload the chip, everything would freeze, whatever. So I put it down for a couple years, blah, blah, blah. I had some other projects. Then I decided to pick it back up in the summer of 2020. And I, this time was like, okay, I did some more research. I'm like, I think I can use a Raspberry Pi with a CAN hat, which is a device that mounts onto it. And that allows you to interface with the CAN bus on the car. And my thought was like, okay, it's no longer wireless like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth type connection. Like I'm gonna be hardwired into my car so I can read all those messages, and I know for sure that like a Raspberry Pi can handle that, you know. And so yeah, it took some time. Like I say, it took months. I mean, it was early on when I was doing this, and it wasn't working at first. Months. I started developing a Node.js based web app, which is actually what you're seeing right here. While I was trying to figure this all out, so I got super frustrated, put it aside again, and then randomly, you know, got into it again a couple years ago, or actually like a year ago, something like that. And this time I actually got it to work. That's the long. I'm not going to go into the details, but I think part of it was that I was super early, and honestly, the Linux drivers that interact with the CAN bus, I don't know. It's just things weren't fully there yet, because when I reconfigured it recently, it read the CAN bus like that. So it was like, okay, I don't know. I just think I was super early. So then I got everything configured, and I was able to read the CAN bus. And I can show you guys real quick what a CAN bus, like what it looks like when you read it. I'm actually remoted into the Pi that I just told you about. It's actually connected to my car right now. So my car is in the garage. It's been on with the key in the on position this whole time. And I have like a little battery pack connected to the Pi so it won't die. And my car is connected to a battery charger so I can hack away on it without killing my car's battery. And I've already killed a couple, so that's another story. So anyway, so I am now remoted into it, and I'm going to show you guys what the actual CAN bus looks like when you read it. Sorry, I didn't mean to put can dumpo. So that's actually funny. So can dump is the Linux command. Right now I'm in Linux, I'm in the Pi. Can dump is the Linux command that allows you to read the actual CAN bus. So when I do can dump can zero, that is going to read the CAN bus on the Fiat. So you guys ready? It's super, this is way exciting. Anyway, here we go. All right, so we are now reading the CAN bus on the Fiat. And you can see, as I was saying, there's millions of messages. They're flying along like crazy. Just realized that right now I'm on a Wi-Fi network. I'm like remoted into it. So if you and I were sitting in the car right now, these things would be zipping by. So then, okay, I'll control C it and I'll stop it. So then it's like, well, how do you how do you figure out what's going on? There's millions of messages happening. And so that is where the reverse engineering part comes in. And that's some stuff that hopefully I might be able to do with DIMO later on, which is really awesome. And that's actually where I left off with my app. I just started to do the reverse engineering. What I did is I'm using Wireshark, which is a tool that a lot of security researchers use for Wi-Fi packet analysis, whatever. But you can actually, there's a plugin that allows Wireshark to read your CAN bus. And so I installed the plugin. And what I do when I want to record the CAN bus, I record it with Wireshark. It dumps it into a log file. And then I coded up a couple of JavaScript files, which then takes that. I mean, as you can see, it's a huge log file, and it sorts everything all the way. Because, okay, so what I do is as I'm recording, I like hit a button, like I hit the window down button like 5 times, like once every second, like that down, you know, and that way I can try to find a pattern in this flood of messages. Like I can try to find like, oh, okay, so there was one message and it only appeared 5 times, right? So that's actually the sorting algorithm that I came up with. Like, so if you hit this thing 5 times, try to find the message that only shows 5 times. But I actually had to literally sort through all these messages and find that. So that's actually part of the reverse engineering. The next part that I have to do is match it up with the factory manuals and stuff. I want to see if I can do stuff that way. I don't know. I will get into that later. But that's basically where I'm at now. And a quick just run through of the app. This is the front app. It's actually a full stack Node.js app that I've been deving up. This is the front end, and I call it GearLink. But it doesn't have much of a front end. It's not very pretty because the idea is I built a voice user interface into it. So the idea is you will be able to talk to the actual app as you're driving your car, because you don't want to be like typing on a keyboard and crashing your car. You want to talk to it. You want to say, Fiat, roll down your window, and it'll do it, right? So that's the idea, because we want things to be safe. Also, I'm only going to have it access your comfort CAN bus, which is like the medium speed CAN bus in your car, the one that doesn't actually talk to anything serious, because we don't want to say fiat stop and then the car stops and everybody crashes, so we don't need any of that. It has to be really, really safe. But yeah, and so as you can see right here, on the bottom of your screen, it says, I think you said, "Hi, my name is Liz." So that is the speech recognition part. That's actually my wife. I have the Pi in my car with a microphone hooked up to it. So she went to the mic and she said, "Hi, my name's Liz, better known as the Pissed Off Professor." That's a story for another day. But converted her speech to text. And that's the speech recognition part. So that obviously works. And if you issue a command and if you say fiat battery status, that will actually send that command to the CAN bus on the car. And as you can see here, I just brought up this node window. You can see where she actually said fiat battery status as well. It heard her. And then it was like, oh, that's a command. I coded all that in. I won't go into it. And then I have all the different commands. I only have one, okay? But so far, that's like, because I'm just started it. Pretty soon, hopefully I'll have like 20 commands, and it chooses it. So if you say battery status, it finds the battery status command, and then I have the CAN message hard-coded into my app. It finds that. In this case, it thinks it's ID C20A000. It thinks that's the CAN message for battery status, and so then it sends that to the car. And so yeah, that's where I have left off. And honestly, I think the only other thing that I will finish off with is I have some ideas for the DIMO platform in general and how to integrate this all. I was thinking like you could say something like, "Fiat, give me the daily stats of my car," right? So that stuff, like your average gas mileage, coolant levels, whatever, things like that. I'm just kind of like spitting stuff. That stuff could then be stored, or you could grab that stuff from the DIMO API, and I could do that programmatically. So you could say fiat average gas mileage, and it grabs that stuff from the DIMO API that I store, right? And then that brings me into the second thought with DIMO, where I could potentially contribute real-time CAN bus data from your car to the DIMO platform and store it like in a database that's connected to DIMO. And so that way, we could have like, okay, if your windows roll down, we could store that status in the database, and that way it can refer back to it. So anyway, this is all back-end stuff, but I was thinking of ways I can incorporate DIMO with my app as well. So, all right, I think I'm done. I think I'm